Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Polybridge. I've been sent a level by you guys that I can't wait to play, and before we start I do just want to say, as always, if you enjoy these videos leave a like down below. As always, thank you for your support. Let's have a look at the level info over here. This one is called Loop Back Around Twice. It's made by Steve the Mage, and we have a monster truck, then a hydraulic phase and a monster truck. Now that's important because when I first looked at this, based on the name Loop Back Around Twice, I figured that they sent me this because last time we messed around with making some giant loop-the-loop. And if we made a path that went straight across, then we did a big old loop like this, came all the way down to B, and then did another loop round to A, we'd be looping around twice, and A would go all the way past B and over to A, and B would just go round to B, right? So that's how I kind of pictured us solving this. However, we do have a hydraulics phase, which may be rather important. Now that I look at it, if we do have a hydraulics phase, what is stopping us from having a road like this? Possibly the gradient is too steep, and then simply lowering it down so B can get onto the next platform. That might actually be plausible, and I want to give that a try, and if it works we'll also try the loop thing as well. But yeah, let's start off with seeing if that's going to be possible at all. Got a feeling though it's going to be too steep. So there's this moment where it looks like it's going to work. Up goes the monster truck, and then, oh no, it's not going to make that. It's going to fall back down, and it's not going to be very pretty. Well, actually, that was oh, no, okay, it does a flip. Fair enough. Yeah, so that's not going to work. I was wondering if there was some sort of trickery we could do here, but no. So we're going to go with plan A, because we tried plan B first, of all things, and that's, of course, to do the path that goes over here, and then the big loops, two of them. So I'm looking at the budget and I'm thinking we've done quite well so far not to use too much steel, maybe going a little over the top, and then I'm thinking we're halfway there. So I had this idea, like, maybe we don't need to make a full loop, maybe we just need to send this thing sort of backwards, like, you know, send it through the air. So if we watch this, it gets quite a bit of momentum. Now if we can make this curve a little sharper and flick it over the back, then the thing might land back on this and sort itself out and come back around again. So I'm thinking if we have some sort of ramp here, how would we do this? Maybe we make it so that it just falls down a little bit. So this one goes, then it comes back around, it lands, and it goes up to the top. Then the second one would need to go up to here, and then maybe this thing with some hydraulics then gets shifted up, and the second one goes through. That being said, the other thing would be, I don't know how we're going to do this, but this is clearly not the way. If we were to make two big loops here, we would use way too much steel. So I think we definitely have to get a kind of flick thing going on here, where we flip it back over to the beginning. But maybe we can figure it out. Let's get that step done first, and then see where we can go from there. So it's looking really positive, and I just made some tweaks. I wish I hadn't actually, because the way it landed before was a lot better than it does now. So this thing flies over and it basically hits this one here, but as you'll see it doesn't really move it, and before it landed a little bit more gracefully than that, so that's not the way that we want it to land. However, as we've learned with this game, like, that'll make a big difference basically. Although now that I've said it, it probably won't. Let's have a look. Okay, so how are you going to land? And stuck upside down. Let's stop that. Let's try again. Let's go for just the tiniest of changes will make the biggest of differences here. So off into the air it goes. We can actually look at that if we move the angle around a little bit. Oh, and it goes back on itself. Right. But that way it's not going to gain the momentum that we need it to have when it lands. So it really does need to find a niche little landing that works for us, and then we're going to have speed moving forward. It's very important that we have speed as we go along this bit, so it's better than that start, and that means it can do a steeper ramp, I think. Right, and it's probably going to take me several attempts to get this. Now this is just the best, and it's probably the best because we're running at 300%. Oh, it doesn't work, it does. Oh, it did it different that time. Interesting. I guess that's not surprising. We've learnt that before. It can. That's what happened before, and then it pushed the whole thing down. Yeah. So, how are we going to get around that? Maybe the position of this needs to be a little bit better. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, though. And that made that break and not work. Fascinating. The slightest of changes and you get totally different results. Well, that looked good, but it sort of gave way in the middle, so maybe we just need to make this all a little bit stronger. And again, just let's go all out here. Let's just give it tons. I think if the triangles are bigger like this, they're better supported, but I could be wrong. Let's find out. Nope, there you go. Oh, the whole thing falls down. I just can't get it right. Oh, let's give it one more try then. Let's just change this a touch. Oh, that might have been it actually. It might have been the bit at the back. And no, it doesn't work by the looks of it. Level failed, but maybe not. I've just realised though, I have no idea how we're going to get the hydraulics to help us in this situation, but let's go look at the situation. So I'm going to do this on 300% again. Round it goes, bam, and it goes up to the top and destroys that part of the bridge. And then the second one goes up to the top, which is no good. So how do we then get B to go underneath this? That's the question, and I think it's going to be really difficult. Now we need this thing to fall down in order for A to go above it, which means the hydraulics... Oh, I think I might have an idea actually. What if we had two hydraulics like this, and then a cable to hold it all together? So that can contract and the cable can lose a bit of tension. Then this is going to expand. I bet this will just break. This looks like it will just break. Oh... And it affects it slightly there. So just make that go up a touch. Every time we do this we can have like drastic consequences like that. So maybe a little further out. Oh, it's the trial and error is just ridiculous on this, and that's too far out. Let's try that. This is what I do in between each one. I'm just sitting here moving it like a couple of pixels and praying for the best. So close. So close. I'm not sure what it is we should be doing here to help it, but we will try. Okay, that seemed to... Oh, wait a minute. He was going to go for it again. I'd at least like to see what happens here. Okay, up you go. Fascinating. That actually makes a lot of sense, I guess. So it just literally pushed the cable out of the way. If I had the cable longer like this, would it do something different? Oh. Oh, okay. That kind of makes a lot of sense why it did that. Because now it's sort of creating a point here, isn't it? Oh, I just don't know. I just don't know. Oh my god, I came up with the worst solution ever. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, hey, what if we got this bridge here to like, you know, just break and get out of the way? And then B can go to B, but of course B wouldn't go to B if this broke, it would just go around the way that A did. And now that's actually reminded me that what we need to do is lower it on this side. So we've started off actually doing the right thing, and then I've lost track of what we're actually trying to do. We're not trying to lift this up so B can go under it, we need to now change this bit over here. Anyway, I want you to see what happens. Let's also slow down the speed for this one. Let's get it up to about 110, there we go. So now this thing pulls in and breaks the bridge. Look at that. And now the second one can go across. Bumps into that one. It didn't actually end up there last time I tried that. Anyway, so we know that's not what we need. We need a split joint here. So that's going to go after the hydraulics phase, which is absolutely fine. And then we need... Oh, we need to lower. Right. That might be tricky because if we have something here, that's going to... Like... This can't drop, can it? Unless there's a way I can make it. Let's have a look. We might be able to get away with something if there was like enough flexibility, but it doesn't appear that there's going to be enough. Let's see what happens, because that's still propped up. Maybe the monster truck will actually go over. Oh, that's a rough landing. No, that's a terrible landing. Oh dear. Took me a long time to think of this, but what if this bit down here was anchored? Would that be so bad? And the answer is at the moment yes, because of where this thing lands. It lands on it, which is no good at all. We want it to land on this bit over here. So maybe if we just mess around with this a touch. Let's bring that in. Bring it all in a little bit. Can we get away with something like that? Very unlikely, I reckon. But we might be on the right track at least. Doesn't look good. No. And look how close to this truck it goes. So maybe we can get away with having the road go a little bit closer here. In fact, this whole bridge could link up to that anchor point if that's how we want to do it. So let's connect that. I know that's probably looking really rough, but we can change things around as we go. So let's bring this right down behind like that. And that actually looks pretty good. Let's see what happens this time. So it's all about where it lands now. And oh my god, I think we got it. I think we figured it out. Oh, go on. Go on, monster truck. Yes. Oh, look at that. Oh, amazing. Why did that stay connected if it's a split joint? I think you're looking at the solution there. It'll take a while, but I think we've sussed this one out. Why did that stay connected? Let me guess. Yes, that's not what we want. Let's give it a whirl once more like that. I'll speed it up. Bam, over it goes. Does a little flip. This time it said nah. Let's do it one more time. Yeah, it's different every time basically. And this is the one where it also doesn't. Maybe we're not going to get one while I'm filming. Oh, there it goes. And yeah, you can definitely see that that's what we need to do now. You wouldn't believe just how much tweaking I'm doing. It's like 1 minute you're almost there, the next it's a complete fail. This one has been one of my favourites though. Look at this. Round it goes, and it might be slightly different this time. I hope it will do what it did before. Yep, this is it. So that's the cleanest landing. Gets to the top, falls down there and breaks that bit, and now this looks just perfect. But, oh no, it's going to tip it all over and collapse the entire thing. So, actually no, let's watch that again, because before I make a tweak here, we want to see how this thing interacts. How do you interact, you? Right, that's kind of worrying. I'm not sure what I need to do there. Okay, let's see it. We've done the level under budget, and we need to change the speed here, because at that speed it is pretty ridiculous. And doing this is pretty ridiculous, and the solution is pretty ridiculous, because the bridge breaks as you use it, but we have managed to complete this challenge. Look at this right here, absolutely crazy. Yes, we got some sort of little barrier system back here, but that makes it possible. And up it goes, so the first one is reached. Then that goes out of the way, this lowers down. And up goes the second one. Does a little flip. Tries for it again. And again, and eventually it just about gets up there. And then it crawls over the finish line. Gotta say, that one was a lot of fun, really challenging. So I do believe at the beginning of this episode I may have said that I was going to go do like a custom level. The plan has changed because I have found an extremely interesting looking map. This might be done with some trickery here. I'm not sure how they've got like another surface up there, or how they have paddle bolts on top of each other. Maybe you can just sort of drop them in the air. But the idea is to build a bridge inside a cave that expands itself outwards and allows this lorry, which is probably going to be quite heavy, to go from one side to the other. So that's actually what happens right there. And then the hydraulic phase will kick in and this thing will drive over. And straight away I am just like, wow, we have 85,000 to work with. Do we have any limits? These are all unlimited. Sometimes I read the hotkey by mistake. Many of you have pointed that out to me. So one thing we can't really do is start off with a road going across. Like, the road's going to be built in this space, and it's not going to be attached to anything either. Like, we can't have... Actually, we could make that a split joint. Anyway, that might actually be useful as well, because it could hold it together. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking. These could just start off like that. I'm building everything extremely quick to give you a rough idea, you know. And then we create like an anchor point here, and it simply goes down. But how would we get it to go down? Because all of our hydraulics have got to be in the inside area. So somewhere in here we also need a system that's going to allow the hydraulics to sort of expand enough to allow this to go all the way down while supporting it. It's just boggling my mind right now. So maybe if we had some sort of like central point down here, we could have a hydraulics that expands upwards, and that's obviously in the way. And then it's also attached to the bridge somewhere else at like the furthest point. Then we would need something to hold this in the middle as well. So as that expands, this also expands out to the side, and hopefully that'll be able to turn. I think we're going to go through so many trial and errors on this one, so let's get to it. Let's try and get something that works. Okay, so right now I feel like an imminent collapse is basically what we're going to see. And we have to wait for the boats to go by first. Let's get a zoom in going over here. There we go, that's a much better view. So, that was really not what I expected to happen, actually. That was like one of the last things I thought of. So, when I made these split joints, it decided to keep some of the bits attached to it, which is rather odd because it's a split joint, which is not what we want to happen. I tell you what would be really nice, having like a button that you could hold down like shift, and it both goes over to that side. Okay, yeah, having a button you could hold down like shift that would temporarily like set the speed up to 300, that would be awesome. So if we have a cable to the middle on both sides, as soon as this expands, then it loses all meaning, it's just going to wobble, although it could only wobble so far. So imagine that the cable is attached on just one side. It's like, as it expands, it can push out further to that side in like an arc. How we get this thing to stay in the middle, though, that's just the challenge right now. Maybe there's like an equal hydraulic. Oh, that's an idea. One that shrinks. So the maximum size would take it to there. That one will automatically be set to shrink, and this right here is definitely not very strong. So what we'll do is like try and make it just a little bit beefier. Apparently I'm not allowed to place like anything in that space. Oh, there, no. Either side, but not in the middle, because the hydraulics is in the way, of course, yeah. Alright then, change of plan. Let's go for this shape. And let's also zoom in and make sure everything's good up here. They're all number 2s. No, these need to be number 1s. Okay, let's see what happens this time. So we're going to push and pull, and hopefully that thing will stay in the middle. That was weird. That looked like something was still attached up here. 2 and 2. 2 and 2. No, that has been done correctly, so didn't look like it at all, did it? Really didn't look like it. I want to watch that one more time, so let's speed it up and then slow it down. Just didn't like the idea, really, did it? So I'm just trying to do the simplest of things right here, and on this side it doesn't want to expand no matter what. Watch what happens. It doesn't want to know about it. It's so odd. I'm going to delete a few more bits here, make them steel. Not hydraulics. That wouldn't work. Or maybe it would. Maybe that's the secret to doing this level. So I'm not really having too many ideas at the moment. I keep staring at it. And the odd thing here is that if we zoom in, they're both set to 2. So why is this side behaving differently? They're symmetrical, but now that I've reinforced it with steel, it's still having an issue at the top here. It's like it pops out back, and then it can't go past the anchor point like it's pushing into it. That's sort of what it looks like, right? Let's speed it up and then slow it down. Yeah, look, it's right next to it, and it won't go past it that way. And it expands until it breaks. That kind of sucks. So these anchor points at the top are a little bit funky, and with this arrangement we can, you know, sort of move the bridge out without them hitting the top bits. Because once I fix this side, there was an issue on the other side. Anyway, got a cable in the middle here, and it looks promising for a while. It looks like it's doing what you want it to do, but the cable isn't shrinking is one thing to bear in mind. So as this pushes up, those pushes push out, and then after a while, oh, it starts to sway, and off it goes. Do you know, I just had a thought, like, what if you attached a cable from there to here to sort of hold it to the middle on either side, but then that would probably snap as the hydraulics break. And maybe 2 sets of these. I don't know. I really just don't know how to do this one. I did have a bit of luck with what I was trying before when I fixed it up the top here, but eventually it broke, so I had to give up on that one. So I had an idea. In order for us to expand and shrink, no, the other way around. In order for us to shrink this point and expand the other one, we would need 2 hydraulics here, and this looks really promising, but it's still not enough, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a case of getting the angle right here, because look, it gets extended, and then it sort of gets a little bit stuck there. And here's the thing, this was originally set to shrink to 50, and it sort of pushed out fast in the beginning, then it pulled back on itself. So maybe if this came down less, it could do good, but I think it's the angle that's the issue here, because this one isn't quite as long. I think that we need it to be longer. Let's mess around. I reckon if we make these go upwards, I reckon we're going to run into an issue. That's just my instinct there. Let's see what happens when we do it like, oh god, wow. What happened there? I accidentally removed some bits that I wasn't. Did I also just change one of the hydraulics? What are you set to? Contract? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Set it to expand up there. Alright, so we'll give it another try and see if that helps us. That might actually be the trick right there. Oh no. Nope, that's no good at all. That really isn't. Also, we had these set to shrink before. Would that have been the best way to do things? Maybe they were supposed to expand, I'm just thinking. Right, so let's get hydraulics. Let's set everything to expand, because I'm just wondering... We made it shrink so that the point is further down, and in theory it extends further across. Now, I don't think this is going to help. Let's just... Yeah, this is nonsense. I had a whiff of an idea there, and it turned out to be rubbish. So that's not going to work. No. Okay, this time I think we got the solution. I just gave this a whirl. It seemed to lower down the bridge as much as we wanted it to. And I've changed some of this down the bottom over to steel. So you can see that I've attached the hydraulics to the anchor points at the top. And I was just starting to wonder if this could be done without them at all, because we haven't attached anything to it. So taking a big stride forward here, because this, I reckon, is the way to go. So it expands really fast at first, and then it kind of slows down, which is kind of crazy. So I've set this to 40% when it was 50, and we're almost there, but there's going to be a ton of tension on this bit. I'm half wondering if connecting it somewhere else would have been the way to go. So let's try 45% and see if that's going to be enough. There we go. And let's start the simulation. Turn the speed up. Turn it back down. There we go. Perfect 100. And how is that going to hold out? That is going to suffer. Oh, that is really going to suffer. Yeah, the other thing is that we're also dealing with a lorry truck here. Okay, well, I've got an idea. I think what we should do is strengthen these triangles by sort of adding other ones inside them, like this. Would that work? Or maybe I should have put them inside this bit, and hopefully that'll take some of the tension off of this bit. I've got a feeling it's still going to go straight to it, but they're not connected to the same bits now. So expand all the way, 50%. Speed it up. Slow. Ooh. That's not what I was expecting to happen. Huh. I really hate to do this, but this was an expert level, and you know, an hour goes by, you're trying loads of things, and I'm thinking, like, what's the point here? I can't come up with a solution. Anyway, this is about the furthest I've got along. So where we had the hydraulics going to the top before, they were sort of the weak spot. They would break if you got everything else right. So I tried for something different, and it just feels like it's not possible. You know, we can't have a single hydraulics. We need to have two sets that create the right amount of distance for this thing to expand. And just look at that. Like, all of this extra support down the bottom, it's never enough, because it always gets diverted onto this once you fix where it breaks everywhere else. So all of these little places right here were points where the stress would give away, and you reinforce them and it gets directed to the hydraulics. So on comes this thing, and then it breaks, which really sucks. So I played it for a little bit longer, and I've given up. Pretty much frustrated with that one. Just couldn't quite figure it out. We got close though. I do hope you enjoyed the video. That's the most important thing. I had fun playing it, but that was a real tough one. Anyway, that's it from me this episode. So as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.